Let the record show that the regular Riverview City Council meeting was called to order on June 19th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Will the clerk please take roll?
Councilmember Blanchett.
Here.
Councilmember Ganaga.
Here.
Councilmember Norton.
Here.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Here.
Councilmember Robbins.
Here.
Mayor Swift.
Here.
Councilmember Workman.
Here.
Tonight we have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Boy Scouts from Troop 1759, so I'll invite them down. And then after that, the invocation by Councilwoman Ganaga. Please rise.
First word is I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys.
Dear Lord, we invite you to preside over this meeting. Even if we have different opinions, give us unity of spirit. Help us each to listen politely as others share their points of view. Help us to work as a unified team in combining ideas for a great outcome. May we have a spirit of camaraderie in this room and work together on a shared mission. Amen.
Amen. Jeff, any announcements tonight?
No, Your Honor, no announcements.
Okay. First up, we have a presentation of proclamation. I'll read the background on that. Mr. Reese Prunty, a Boy Scout from Troop 1795, has received the rank of Eagle Scout. He recently accomplished the task of repainting the Glen Park playground to beautify the park for the city and for the residents who live there. So I'll invite Reese and his other scouts to come up. To give a little bit of background, it was last summer Reese and several of his scouts took on the task of painting the park equipment in Glens Park. I think it's the original equipment. Even though the structure itself is in good shape, it really needed a paint job. So Reese took that on himself to do that with scouts. So I think it's only fair that we recognize him for that. And this is one of the favorite things I get to do. Come on, guys, you're late. That I get to do as a father of two Eagle Scouts. This really gives me a lot of pleasure to do this. The rank of Eagle Scout is the highest and ultimate achievement sought by every Boy Scout in the land. And whereas it has become to our attention that Mr. Reese Prunty, a sophomore at Riverview High School from Boy Scout Troop 1795, has achieved this goal. And whereas Mr. Reese Prunty repainted Glen Park Playground to help beautify the park for the residents and for the city. This project includes stripping the old paint and applying new paint to the entire playground structure. It took 216 man-hours to complete this project. Whereas Mr. Reese Prunty will be recognized at a court of honor later this fall. Whereas for this achievement, Mr. Reese Prunty has brought honor not only to himself, but also to his family, the community, and Troop 1795 as well. Now therefore, I, Andrew M. Swift, the Mayor of the City of Riverview, Michigan, on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of Riverview, extend congratulations and best wishes to Mr. Reese Prunty. Congratulations. A little closer to get a shot. You want to say a word?
Sure.
Sure, great.
I just want to say on behalf of Troop 1795 to thank the entire city of Riverview for allowing me to do this as my the Eagle project. And I want to also let everyone thank my troop because they are the people that truly put a lot into this and put in the actual hard work of it, all as I only let it. So please, everyone give them a round of applause.
Thank you very much. I mean, I know that's not easy. Thank you, guys. All right, with that, approve of the, excuse me, 5-1, approve the minutes of the 6/5/23 regular Riverview City Council meeting and the 6/12/23 special Riverview Council meeting in the condensed version for publication. What's council's pleasure?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilwoman Ganaga, supported by Councilman Norton. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Ganaga.
Yes.
Councilmember Norton.
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins.
Yes.
Mayor Swift.
Yes.
Councilmember Workman.
Yes.
Councilmember Blanchett.
Yes.
We have no public hearings. Now's the time for public comment. Anyone wishing to address the mayor and council, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Try to keep your comments to 5 minutes, and remember, there's no sharing of time and no rebuttals. And please be respectful. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Morey. I reside at Riverview Towers Senior Housing, 13333 Pennsylvania Road, Riverview. I have lived there for 11 years. We are here today because we need your help. We are residents of Riverview Towers Co-op. We are a low-income, affordable senior community, 62 plus. Our building was built in 1977 and is located at 13333 Pennsylvania Road. We want to thank you for supporting us for over 45 years. There are 171 apartments, 171 separate households, 171 registered voters who are preparing their mail-in ballots as we speak here today. Several of us are here today. The rest have signed a petition and were unable to come for various reasons, many of which are health-related. We are an integral part of Riverview community, and in 2022, we paid over $75,000 in city real estate taxes. Riverview Towers Co-op did refinance and renovation of the co-op from January 2019 to February 2020. And then at the onset of the pandemic, we began completing outstanding items. This rehab project afforded us the ability to update many of our original systems. As a part of the scope of work, we replaced the apartment pull cord system with a new and improved model, which cost approximately $60,000. A pull cord emergency response system is a requirement for HUD subsidized housing, and this system was approved by everyone, including the city and the fire department. Each apartment has 2 pull cord stations within it. These pull cords are not in the hallways, they are in each apartment unit, one in the bedroom and one in the bathroom. When a resident pulls it, it goes directly to a monitoring company that sends the alarm to the fire department for dispatch. Soon after the installation, the new system occasionally created false alarms. During the pandemic, after months of investigation, trial and error, the problem continued even through third-party inspections, even though third-party inspections were saying the system was working fine. At this point, the fire department sent us an ordinance notice outlining fees for false alarms. Meanwhile, we were trying to work with vendors, the fire department, and the city in order to correct the system. Some thought the system was just too sensitive and that just bumping it in would trigger them. So we installed plastic covers, protectors around the devices to help reduce the chance of bumping into it and setting it off. The cost of this was $7,000 for materials and installation. The false alarms continued, and no one could ever identify definitely what the problem was. Our management agent reached out to the city fire department multiple times to try and find out which apartments were setting off the alarms. And the response we got was that they didn't know which apartments and that it would be too much trouble to identify them. The invoices that we were getting from the city for the false alarms at that time did not have the apartment numbers on them. And the majority of those same invoices are in the lawsuit that we received from your attorney. And they don't have the apartment numbers on them either. Our thought was that if we had an apartment number, we would be able to identify trends and work with the residents to figure out what was wrong with the system. The city attorney reached out to our management agent wanting payment. In order to work with them, we hired an attorney and started a dialogue trying to get a meeting with the city attorney and city manager to resolve the issue. We tried multiple times to schedule with the city attorney unsuccessfully. All we wanted to do was let them know the entire situation and to try and resolve the situation. We felt ignored by the attorney and our request went unanswered. Ultimately, we had to disable the pull cord system in December of 2022 and contracted with the company to install a pennant system, which is almost ready to go live. So for the past several months, we did not have any false alarms. That was the result of the pull cord system being taken offline. This month, the city attorney official filed the case in court and served us with a court case asking for $113,300. Our stance is that we understand that the fire department had to make extra trips to the co-op due to false alarms, and surely there's some extra gas spent on that. All we're asking for is for the city to work with us to determine a fair amount. The $113,000 lawsuit is an outrageous amount of money that will have a devastating impact on our ability to maintain our affordable housing community. We ask that you work with our management company to resolve this matter in a fair way. Again, thank you for your support over the past 46 years.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Good evening. My name is David Peralt, and I live at Riverview Towers Co-op. And as Cheryl said, last week Riverview Co-op and our management agency were served by the city's attorney to pay $113,300 for false alarms that occurred at our co-op. I would like the City Council and the court to understand that Riverview Towers Co-op is not an equity cooperative, as it is alluded to in the court case documents. Riverview Tower residents are low-income seniors and must income qualify to live at Riverview Towers. Riverview Towers is an affordable 62-plus housing community which operates under the cooperative management system. That means that residents are given the opportunity to volunteer their time and efforts to assist with managing the co-op, and that helps to keep operational costs down. When we write the budget for Riverview Towers Co-op, we add up all the income from our residents' percentage of rent and the housing assistance Section 8 rent subsidy, and then we deduct all operational expenses. Then we balance to zero. There is no profit margin. This means that we do not have any extra money in our budgets, so we don't have any money budgeted to pay for this additional unexpected expense. When trying to work with the city fire department and city manager, we were told that they could not work with us on the ordinance charges, that the only ones that could change anything would be the city council and the mayor. We are coming to you today for help. Excuse me. We would like you all to understand that we at Riverview Towers Co-op are low-income seniors and have been an outstanding neighbors since 1977 and are recognized by the National Affordable Housing Management Association as a community of quality. We are coming to you for help because we need a mayor and city council that cares and represents us seniors in this community. Suing us in court for a faulty safety measure that was required by HUD and put into place for our safety is not looking out for us. We need your support and assistance in this matter. We don't even understand how the ordinance pertains to our building as a whole. Riverview Towers Co-op is 171 separate households with individual mailing addresses and have 171 separate voters. Each apartment has 2 pull cord stations within it. These pull cords are not in the hallways. They are in each apartment unit, one in the bedroom, one in the bathroom. An emergency call system is a requirement for all HUD housing. So each apartment unit is a separate address within the city of Riverview, and each resident of that apartment unit is an alarm user. Doesn't that mean that each apartment unit renter should be given 2 false alarms per year prior to the ordinance charges going into effect? After all, these are not community area pull cords. They are in each and every resident's apartment. Please understand that you are suing us for $113,000. That money comes directly out of our budget, which will affect all 171 of us low-income seniors. Please work with us to come to a fair amount to cover the actual expenses and to make the city whole. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Debbie Sturgalis Rohde, and I also live at Riverview Towers at 13333 Pennsylvania Avenue. I've lived there for almost 5 years. In 2019, we did a thorough, enormous refinance to improve the property. We invested millions of dollars. Refinancing our building allowed us to make necessary upgrades and enhance the overall living conditions for us seniors. Some examples included improving accessibility features, upgrading common areas, enhancing emergency and security systems, and addressing maintenance issues. These improvements created a more comfortable and enjoyable environment, and it helped promote a higher quality of life for us seniors. In addition, upgrading and beautifying our home has a ripple effect on the surrounding community. It uplifts the neighborhood's overall aesthetic appeal and stimulates local economic activity. When affordable housing is well maintained and visually appealing, it contributes to the community pride and attracts potential investors and businesses. This has a positive impact on the entire area. Asking us to pay $113,000 for false alarm charges will create a financial burden that will greatly impact the preservation of our home for years to come, along with having a negative effect on our beloved city. So I ask you to please be reasonable and work with us. Meet with us so we can come to a fair agreement. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
My name is Sandra Winchester. I live at 13333 Pennsylvania, apartment 715. I've lived there for 8 years. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us. Communication is the key for a resolution. Sometimes it seems there is only one-sided communication. Our management company has reached out to the fire department several times to see if we could work together to solve the problem. After the fire department refused to help find a safe resolution, they send us fines. The city attorney only wanted payment. A low-income residents, our management agent hired an attorney to speak on our behalf. We were ignored. No solution was wanted, just payment. We have reached out to several vendors to verify our system was installed correctly. We have been searching for answers to find solutions. As a result, we are replacing the new pull cords with a pendant system. Riverview residents care about the fire department. We value their service and want a resolution. Because of this, our finances are falling short. All our budget money goes into the building. Due to switching to the pendant system, our system has been put into test mode because we can't afford the fines. We have been silent. I don't understand how anyone can be happy with that. They can't be happy knowing Riverview residents have no active emergency services. We were forced to abandon the pull cord system and get a pendant system that will hopefully be active any day now. I really wish instead of wanting only payment, they wanted to work together to find a safe resolution. We are happy to pay the fire department for their actual cost with gas, but all us residents want is to be heard and cared for. Please take into consideration our situation and work with us on our financial situations. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you.
My name is Linda Goins. I've lived at Riverview Co-op for 3 years. At Riverview Co-op, every year we meet to organize our budget. We have to make tough decisions on what projects we can afford and which projects we have to wait each fiscal year. Sometimes we wait a year to approve upgrade of lighting in the parking lot or investing in security cameras to make the co-op safer. But because how we vote on our budget annually, excessive fines placed on the co-op would end up coming out of the budget that we write. While we understand that the false alarms that our safety systems have flagged are a nuisance to the city's services, we have been working to fix the issues unsuccessfully. We originally budgeted $60,000 for the new pull cord system, but had to shut it down because of the inability to get it fixed right. It was a hard decision because it was so much money that was invested into it. By issuing us these fines, our operating budget will be severely affected and will definitely hinder our comfortability and enjoyment of the co-op that we all work daily to maintain. All we ask is that you consider this hardship that you're putting on us seniors and help us to resolve this issue without such a large monetary punishment. Thank you, and we appreciate your time for listening to us.
Thank you. And I'll just add now, we appreciate the time you guys took to come down, but I at this point, I think our city attorney wants to make a statement, but go.
Your Honor, if I could just say a few words that might help set the record straight. And I need to be careful about this because the management company, which is CSI, has an attorney, and so as a represented party, I need to be very careful about not intruding on anything. So let me just talk as factually as I can, and then people can take it for whatever they want to do with it. But the actual truth of the matter is that the lawsuit that's being talked about is brought against CSI, the management company, as well as the co-op. So there's two parties involved here, not just the co-op. It's already been stated, and my records do reflect that the $113,000 is due pursuant to the ordinance which sets the fee schedule for false alarms. The truth of the matter is, before we got involved, the fire chief had been trying, I think, for a couple of years to work with management at the co-op to resolve the problem. I started having my first communication, according to my records tonight, of September 20th of 2022. We tried to set up meetings numerous times. My legal assistant took the lead on that. And they were put off, canceled by the other side a lot throughout the fall and winter. And then finally it got to the point where it was determined that we didn't have the attention of the other side, so we needed to do something, and that's why the suit was filed. We remain happy, and I'll say it publicly, we remain happy, as we have been since my first involvement back in September, to sit down with the attorney for CSI, the management company, and resolve this. That was the whole goal in the first place, and it remains our goal, and happy to do that. So,
Thank you, Randy. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. My name is Pat Murphy. I reside at 13333 Pennsylvania Road, Apartment 814. I've been at this residence since January 2022. Good evening, Mayor Swift and members of our City Council. I've been a voting member of the Riverview community, and I'm here to ask you to work with CSI, our management agent, to resolve the substantial emergency service fines that you have imposed on our building. I was shocked to hear of the lawsuit you filed against us this month. My understanding is that our management company has attempted multiple times to meet with your team. I hope that you understand the impact these fines would cause 171 senior citizens in our building. Our building operates with a zero balance budget. Riverview Co-op is not an equity co-op, but our building is unique because it operates in a way that empowers us, the resident members. We volunteer to work with our management company on a day-to-day operations, so we are well aware of the financial burden the city wants to impose on our budget. Paying you $113,000 for unreasonable fines means we won't have the funds available to properly maintain our co-op. It means we won't be able to do cycle painting in our units. We won't be able to wash our windows or clean our carpets. It means we won't be able to keep up with normal repairs. So applying your ordinance to a senior housing building has a big impact on our quality of life. The problem with our pool court system has been resolved, and this week, we will have a new system with pendants for emergency calls. So going forward, we do not expect false alarms to be an issue at our building. We believe in people working together to help each other. We are proud where we live. We are proud of the community we live in. My understanding is that our co-op paid $75,000 in taxes to the city last year. Riverview has been paying taxes to the city since late 1970s. It seems like the city would want to cooperate with us to settle this matter in a fair way. Taking us to the court to resolve this problem is not reasonable. We understand the city has expenses, and the members of Riverview, your constituents, hope that the city council will work with us and CSI to resolve this matter in a reasonable way. Please work with us, not against us. We appreciate your time and understanding. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Linda Lowe, and I also reside at the Riverview Towers Senior Community. I've been a resident at the Towers now for 7 years. The problems with the pull cords began with complaints by EMS to random members at the co-op instead of the fire department directly contacting management. From the beginning, we worked with the fire department, and they actually approved the system for us. Instead of calling the co-op or the liaison, the fire department began sending enormous fines without any explanation or even what apartments were having false alarms. As we are under mandated HUD guidelines, we must have detailed information such as exactly what apartment number the alarm came from. Our liaison reached out to Doug Drysdale, the city manager, the city financial manager, and Chief Lambert on numerous occasions and received no response. I don't want to waste our city's resources. I understand that false alarms need to be resolved, but we have struggled from day one to even understand what the problem is. The pull cord system in question was installed less than a year before we started receiving complaints. It was inspected and approved by all concerned governing bodies, including the fire department. To our knowledge, it was functioning as designed. The building is 50 years old, and false calls came from the last 2 years after the upgraded e-call system was installed. We have not had a false alarm problem before, and because $60,000 was invested, instead of throwing it out, we were trying our best to correct the problem. In the end, that's what we're doing at an enormous cost to the co-op that houses low-income seniors, the group who can afford it the least. We have instead purchased a pendant system which has an additional monthly cost, further impacting our budget. This should be the end of false alarms. Despite all this, we still have over $113,000 of fines hanging over our heads. So I ask you, please be reasonable and work with us. This issue has gone on too long. Meet us on reasonable terms so we can move forward and we can put this behind us. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Charlotte Tanis, and I also live at 1333 Pennsylvania Road. I have lived there for 4 years. In February of 2023, I pulled the pull cord, and I was waiting for an ambulance, and I had a heart attack. But instead of coming directly to me, they were called one person in the leasing office and then the president to see if I needed an ambulance.
And they called me and I said, yes, I do, please, as soon as possible. There was minutes that were wasted from this call, which almost took my life. As a member living in a senior co-op, having an emergency call system is vital to the health and safety of everyone who lives there. Aside from the fact that having a functioning e-call system is required by HUD, the seniors that live in our building depend on it for our well-being and peace of mind. Seniors population are more likely to experience medical emergencies. Not having functioning e-call system would be an enormous risk for our co-op members and could result in disaster. We understand that the false alarm calls might be frustrating and costly, but these charges will have to be paid directly by us seniors at the co-op. The e-call system was inspected by multiple parties and was deemed to be working properly. This is especially frustrating since we have not received much cooperation from any of the entities who have been involved in this entire process. If the co-op were forced to pay this $113,300, it would negatively affect the day-to-day operation of the co-op in a sufficient way. This is not reasonable, and we really need the city to work with us to help reduce the amount so that it doesn't have a big impact on our ability to maintain the building. Please remember how this decision might affect us at the co-op members. Thank you very much for your time and cooperation.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else?
Homer Trombley, 17738 Renson Street. I applaud you seniors for fighting. You didn't forget how to fight. I'm a candidate for city council, and I am a past council member for 38 years. I had planned on retiring from council, but the reason I'm running is I'm not happy with the direction the city is going. I'm not in favor of bringing marijuana into the city. I feel this was a decision that should have went to the vote of the residents, considering how it could affect business and the image of our community. I feel it's wrong for the council to ramrod through this marijuana issue with how it is going to affect our residents. Members of the council refused to let it go to a vote, even though a motion was made to put the issue on the ballot. So the vote went 4-3 against, and then the vote switched to 4-3 for. I'm telling the residents of the city of Riverview, if they allow this to happen, shame on you, because I was born and raised in this city, and I don't want this to happen. So with that, vote yes and rescind this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Your Honor.
Councilman Workman.
Possibly on the senior citizen, the senior high-rise, could the council get an update on that? Have the city manager give us an update just so that we know all the facts? Would appreciate it at closed session. If it's a lawsuit, it could go into closed session. Am I correct, the attorney?
Yes, that's a great idea, and I'm sure that's the direction we will go.
I don't want to be discussing it any further and creating all kinds of situations and people standing in soapboxes. I'd like to know what the problem is before we go any further.
Okay, we'll do that. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Randy Upton. I'm 18356 Mulberry Street, Riverview, Michigan. I had a couple questions here. Maybe you can answer them now or get them later, but does Arkema property run west of Electric all the way down to whatever that first street is? Can you identify who owns that property? You know where Detroit is and has their substation, and then there's all that property around that and running due west.
That's all owned by Arkema, quickly.
That's all due by Arkema? Okay, well then my follow-up question to that is, did we reach out to Debbie Dingo? I know she's getting to retire, to come down here and advise us how she can help us or give us directions as far as taking that company to court. They're a huge company. I mean, they're a giant company. And they're just paying us lip service if we're getting any service at all from them. And since Riverview's, their economic status and the need, to replace the income from the landfill operation, we just have to really devote a lot of energy to putting to use all the vacant land in Riverview that's doing nothing to the tax rolls. So you guys can talk about that at another meeting, or we can put it in the Riverview Register. And then my only other comment I have today, it's going to be pretty short, but I got this piece of paper in my mailbox that's trying to scare people in Riverview, saying that the city council passed a recreational ordinance allowing unlimited marijuana dispensaries in this city. I don't believe that's the truth. Did we pass something to say we can allow unlimited? Okay. And then they follow it up. They follow it up that, let's see here. Oh, that the property values are going to go down the drain. 50% cut in property values. Massive cuts to police and fire, and reduction in tax revenue for our school district. You know what? This is the kind of stuff that gets people riled up, and a lot of people, this is as far as they'll read it and won't understand that most of it's a pack of lies as far as the reductions that we face. Riverview has a good reputation, great homes in it, and when you see a for sale sign in this town, it's usually gone in a couple days. And then they publish a bunch of photos of marijuana places. The only one in here from this area is the one in Detroit that I researched, and the city shut them down because they were too close to a church. And the rest of them are from Colorado and New Mexico and New York. So it's a real glitzy piece of paper that it costs somebody quite a bit of money, or a group of people quite a bit of money, to try to scare the residents, no matter how you feel about the marijuana situation, okay? But this type of tactic is something that we see often in our higher up in our government, with all the lies and innuendos and false statements, and people get fooled. So I just wanted to bring this up because a lot of people will get confused and vote no, thinking that, no, I don't want marijuana in the city, but all they're doing in there is, then they're actually saying, yeah, we can have it. So the whole wording is kind of confusing to some people, and I'm of the opinion it's going to confuse a lot of people because most people don't delve into the proposal and read it word for word, and I could see where people could be confused. I had a neighbor who thought it was very confusing. So, and that's about all I got to say. The important thing is I really wish we push this thing and get more help with our vacant property, our polluted land that was polluted by big multi-billionaire companies, and try to get some help with our state senator, Debbie Dingell, so that's about what I have to say, instead of us spending all the time on a marijuana store if it ever passes through. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
David Prey, 13740 Huntington. So, he stole a little bit of my thunder. I came here tonight, first of all, I want to address something. You guys absolutely need the support that you guys are looking for. I apologize, I realized I was supposed to be looking at you. All these seniors that came before us, they're the foundation of this community. So we absolutely have to support them as soon as possible. With that being said, and the reason I borrowed this is because this is doing nothing but blatantly lying to the seniors. There is nothing on here that is actually factual. And the funny thing is, and for those of you that didn't see the video, the people that are helping perpetuate these lies are from the cannabis industry and a disgruntled resident. That's it. Now, I confronted the gentleman who was passing this garbage out, and he flat out told me he makes his living working for the cannabis industry. His partner makes their living from the cannabis industry. So everybody knows me knows the only reason I got involved in this is because I got tired of hearing lies. The lies are going to stop. Whether I got to call out everybody who's lying or there's going to be a change. So with that being said, I had a few questions tonight. One of the residents asked me if I was accepting any donations from the cannabis industry because I am very pro bringing businesses into the city of Riverview. I expect and I would endorse people voting no on whatever you call this garbage. With that being said, I have taken 0 donations from anybody involved with the cannabis industry. And to make sure that we're all clear, I'd like to ask you guys all a question. If there's anybody, any candidate who's willing to admit or deny that they've accepted donations from the cannabis industry, if there's anybody on the council, if you're accepting money or donations for your campaign, I would love for you to be honest and say, yes, I'm accepting donations, whether it be directly from the cannabis industry or from somebody who owns part of the cannabis industry or a shop or anything like that. I would love to hear that when you guys answer questions. The last thing I wanted to bring up, Mayor, this is actually a question for you. One of the times, the last time you spoke publicly, you mentioned that you asked that the ordinance go to the vote for the people, which I'm not saying is wrong. You said that the reason why you wanted the vote to go to the people is because it reflected a character change for the city. And I was wondering if you could expand on that, just what that character change would be.
I will under other business.
Thank you very much. And the last thing I want to mention was Jen Lee got a hold of you, letting you know about her senior resident. I won't say her name on the camera. I think you know who I'm talking about, though. She turns 100 next month. She has no family. She has nobody left. Her son passed away, I think, 6 months ago, and she also lost her daughter-in-law. I would love for the city to do something for her. She's a great woman. She got a hold of you, so because she was having a hard time getting her lawn mowed, that's being taken care of every week now. So, excuse me, every other week. So, she's a sweet, sweet woman. If this city could do something for her to acknowledge her, I would really appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you all.
Anybody else?
Good evening, Mary. Bill Toll, 17861 Devonshire. I wasn't really going to comment, but since the topic came up on the marijuana tonight, there's probably been some misinformation on both sides. First of all, there is no limit in the ordinance, but the number of facilities are dictated by the footage requirement in between. That's my understanding of it. And, you know, there were survey results developed by another group that were in favor of it. It was mailed to everybody. But, you know, if you're going to do a survey, it really has to be by an independent firm. When it's not, it kind of raises questions about the accuracy of such a report. In that survey, it says it notes that 68% of Riverview residents support regulated establishments. That may be true, I don't know. It goes on to say 28% of Riverview residents believe it is better without regulated cannabis sales. We should leave that to other communities in the area, even if it means we don't receive the benefit from the revenue. That's kind of a loaded question. That's not a real survey. You know, the percentages noted in the survey mean nothing if you don't know the number of responses. I mean, was there 100 people, 1,000 people, 2,000 people? I don't know that. Without having that information, the numbers mean nothing. It also asks how Riverview residents should use the additional revenue, and it listed out several options. One of the options was reduced property tax assessment. I mean, is there anyone in council believes that these dispensaries is going to reduce our property taxes? If so, raise your hand. The next point I want to hit, it's going to be kind of directed to Chuck and Susie since they're running for re-election, but it applies to the entire council. You know, we have the election coming up on August 8th. Chuck and Susie are the only incumbents running for office, one for council and one for mayor. Since they both recently approved a contract with a Riverview PD that failed to increase the age to 60 before a retired employee was entitled to receive health care benefits, which is totally different than all other contracts. I also want to note that same language regarding 60 was included in all other labor agreements negotiated up until that point in time. It was noted in the Redmond report that was explained in detail by the financial advisor to both of you that increasing the age to 60 before employees were eligible to receive health care benefits was a good first step, but was not enough to bring the OPEB to a manageable level, and additional changes had to be made. In addition to that, you approved a contract that changed back from a 401k type retirement benefit to a defined benefit program. The unfunded liability of pension and health care for retirees are the cause of the financial stress our community is facing. They ignored the recommendation of a well-known financial expert that made several recommendations regarding pensions and health care to the entire council. So my question is this: if elected, do you plan to offer a defined benefit to employees of the fire department, the DPW, and all other labor groups in our community? Do you intend on going back in all other contracts that the age was increased to 60 before coming eligible to receive health care benefits and reversing that too? If not, why not? You know, is the police department any more important than the fire department, the DPW, clerical, or other city employees? It wouldn't function without any one of the groups. I also want to bring it to the residents' attention that, or they were also aware of this, they already knew we had to file a deficit elimination plan prior to this contract being negotiated. It's also important that the residents be aware that you intend on coming back in the near future after the election asking for some kind of public safety assessment for the police somewhere between 2 and 4 mils. And one last question for Chuck and Susie, again, only because they're getting realized they're running for office. You know, since you led the charge to ram this ordinance through without voter approval, just respond to my following questions. Now, I'm not going to be able to stay to the close of the meeting, but I will watch it on video. Just one simple question. You know, if recreational marijuana dispensaries are such a benefit to communities, can you explain to me why other communities such as Wyandotte, Southgate, Trenton, and Woodhaven have not opted in to do the same? Those communities have very competent and experienced councils, and they, like our community, are always looking for ways to increase income that will benefit the entire community.
You have to wrap it up, Mr. Toll.
Okay, what do you see that those other experienced councilmen in those communities don't see that makes you believe it would be good for our community to have potentially 12 to 14 marijuana facilities, which the ordinance would allow? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Jared Coyne, 18160 Brentwood Drive. I ran into Debbie Dingle at Summerfest on Friday, and I asked her about the Arkema property and where were we with hopefully getting that to be a EPA Superfund site, and she told me this is the first she's heard of it. So she's never heard of Arkema, apparently. I don't know. She's a politician. She could be lying. I have no idea. I mean, quite possible. But I am interested in what the gentleman said, I believe 3 speakers ago, if there are any legal options to pursue to get them to clean up, because I'm not too hopeful we're going to get any assistance from the federal government, and as far as the state government is concerned, unless you're connected to Xiping or the CCP and you got battery companies, I don't think they really care for us either. So that would be a worthwhile thing looking into if possible. And what Mr. Prey said about the marijuana companies to the north funding the Yes movement, that is true. Feel however you feel about it, but this city needs money. My personal view is people were asleep at the wheel for decades. I estimate in 5 years we will be in receivership, and an emergency manager would likely shutter the library. That'd be the first thing to go, and then they would probably cut police and fire services. And to all the seniors who came out, I hope things work out for you. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. I'll just quickly comment, Congresswoman Dingle is aware of the Arkema property, so I don't know if she just misunderstood you or what, but she is aware of it. Anybody else?
Yes. Council, Mayor Swift, Michael O'Kane, 19302 Brandywine. Just wanted to stop by tonight for something for your consideration. Mayor, we had emailed about this. So as of recently just installed a irrigation system, and now I'm seeing where there's a imbalance as far as in the water billing. Water and sewage are billed and treated the same. Obviously there's with the irrigation system, difference where, I mean, it's clearly not going down the drains. And so with this, not only myself, but anyone else with, kids in the summer with pools, fun sprinklers for the kids, and anyone else that's using outdoor water is being penalized. So my proposal, without putting in any additional infrastructure, would be either a tiered and or seasonal pricing for sewage. So after a certain amount, clearly it's more than just household usage. So for your consideration, something like that for your residents to be able to enjoy and utilize outdoor water. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Brian Webb, 20271 Maplewood. Good evening, everyone. I only had a couple things to say, but my list has grown a little bit as the other ones before me have spoken. So, like many of the other people that are running for council, I do have a difference of opinions. I think Riverview is doing very well. I think there are some areas that we can improve upon. And I wanted to mention a couple of things first. Wanted to say what a great job the city did with Summerfest. Every year it seems to continue to grow. I wanted to thank the city for continuing to put that on. Todd Dickman and his staff for the tremendous efforts that they put for that. And one thing I would like to see, or maybe ask if we could bring back the cardboard boat races. I knew that was always great. The fishing derby, the tug of war between the first responders, that was always a great challenge. And the free games for the children, because I know you can buy wristbands and go out on the carnival rides and all those things, but not every child and family can afford those. So if we could have the free games provided by the Recreation Department, that would be a benefit as well. So I was there at Summerfest supporting, investing my time as a volunteer at the Riverview Community Neighborhood Watch booth, and it was a tremendous success this year. We even topped the proceeds that we made from last year. So I'd like to thank everybody from the community that either donated some items, their time, or came out and purchased an item from the Riverview Community Neighborhood Watch. And all that money will go towards our National Night Out, which is Tuesday, August 1st at Young Patriots Park between 6 and 9 p.m. And what the National Night Out is an opportunity for the community to have an evening of camaraderie between themselves and the first responders. So the police and fire department will be there and have been there in previous years. Last year, and we'll continue this year, to have Carrie Ann's Clown Caravan doing face painting, free ice creams from Serendipity, and air bouncer, water slide, and hopefully again a dunk tank will be provided free of charge to all residents. During the Summerfest conversations I had with many people, that's one of the reasons I enjoy spending the whole weekend there, is you get to see a great cross-section of people. And one comment was made about the fireworks. I know that's upcoming, so this is kind of timely. Their concerns are that people are lighting off fireworks against the ordinance in the streets, on the sidewalks, at the parks, or in the schools. And obviously that can pose a risk because a car is coming down the street and doesn't realize somebody's litting off a barrel of fireworks that's going to launch 32 propelled explosives underneath their car. And I have seen it come very close before. So I thought maybe offering a suggestion that if we could have a designated area on city property, maybe over at the parking lot by the golf course, maybe back at the land preserver, some extra land back there, or even at YP Park where it could be monitored by the police and the fire department and residents could come out and safely light off fireworks. I don't know exactly what the legal ramifications of that are, but I think it would be a lot safer than everybody just going willy-nilly at their house. One other conversation, and kind of springs off of what Jared was saying, is I was actually at the conversation with Debbie Dingle about that, his question about the Arkema property. And just to clarify a little bit, she did say that she's aware of the Arkema property, so that wasn't the discussion. What she wasn't aware of is that Riverview had never asked for that to be put on the EPA NPL cleanup list. Because as we know, that property is highly polluted, but it is a big part of our area of our city that is not utilized at all, so let's just put it that way. So whatever could be done to bring that to her attention, again, if it already was, about getting that site put onto the NPL, or whatever else the state can do to offer assistance. But what I was approaching her about is the McLouth property on the north end. I'm on the community advisory group for the McLouth Superfund site, and we became aware of calcium hydroxide, which is a chemical very abundant on the property at ground level, and when that mixes with water, that becomes highly caustic and has a pH over 12.5, can cause irritations and skin burn, chemical burns, and have a history of somebody near that site falling into that chemical off of his motorcycle and having caustic burns. So it is a possibility. And recently, MDOT provided, thank you, the permits for that railroad to be reconnected from the site across to the other side of West Jefferson, and they started digging into the road, which then created a larger surface area for that calcium hydroxide to mix with water. And we had a large amount of rain last week, and there's now a huge puddle there, which I took a sample of water and tested with my own pool kit, and it is above 8.0, which is the highest that my pool kit will go to. So I urge Jeff Dobeck and the mayor, and also I've already talked to Debbie Dingle and Eagle about getting somebody out there to test that water and figure out exactly what the pH is, and putting up signs around the perimeter to tell warn the public to not go near it, and let them know that there is hazardous material on that site. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, Jeff, can you give us an update on that?
Yes, Your Honor. Today, I reached out to the City of Riverview's landfill engineer, groundwater specialist, and he reached out to Eagle. So they are made aware of that, and I think Mr. Webb will find that in his email today, because there was a response this afternoon to that effect. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, Council. Holly Kozlowski, 17503 Bedford. And I didn't plan to speak tonight, but a couple of the other residents, their comments kind of got to say something, right? So those of you who are currently of the opinion that the marijuana dispensaries should not come to Riverview, I'm asking you to vote no and allow them to come in. This is no longer the propaganda that is the devil's lettuce, or, basically everybody who is using marijuana has access to it now, whether they're getting it from Rouge or Detroit or wherever they're getting it. People are already using this if they choose to do so. All right? So to have to go to another city to spend my money to buy these types of products, why not keep that money here? I'm not saying it's going to drive the revenue through the roof for the city of Riverview. I don't think that at all. But I do think we can improve currently degraded businesses. I do think that we could employ people here. I do think that people should spend their own money in the city that they live in. Okay, guys, I'm pretty much a lifelong resident here. I was born and raised, moved away for a little bit, but I'm certainly a lifer who has returned. Okay, so anybody who is opposed to this, these shops coming in, there's not going to be 10 or 12, because you know what? They're not going to be able to sustain that, right? We currently have 11 liquor licenses, and we have 12. 11 are being used. All right, to compare this, I would say that definitely marijuana is a much more peaceful recreation than alcohol. It's not addictive like alcohol. It doesn't cause violence like alcohol does, okay? So anybody who's just afraid of that stereotype, please open your mind and just be aware that it's just not the case, okay? With that being said, guys, I just want to thank you for all your time and everything that you've put into this. Summerfest was great, by the way. I really do think it was. As Brian said, maybe some of the free activities for families who can't participate in, $60 wristband per child. I'm not saying that it's out of the question, but, it can be expensive for some. So to be able to bring people in and let them do things that are a little bit more cost-friendly would be nice. So if we could bring back those things, that would be wonderful. And again, thank you all for your time.
Anybody else? Seeing one, we're done. I mean, with that anyway. All right, let's go back. We have no organizational business. Is there any item council wants to remove from the consent agenda? Seeing none. 9.1, authorize execution of addendums extending the agreement for gasoline and diesel fuel with RKA Petroleum for a 3-year period. Department of Public Works. Budget amendments A and B. Several pages. And that's it. What's council's pleasure?
So moved, Your Honor.
Support.
Motion by Councilwoman Blanchett, supported by Councilwoman O'Neill. But before we take roll, Jeff, can you just comment on the several pages of budget amendments, please?
Yes, Your Honor. This is budget amendments per departments and line items, and this is to clean up the accounts before the year-end audit at the end of June. Hopefully, and it will going forward, we're going to do these quarterly so that we don't play catch-up at the end of the year, and this will be, it'll go right along with the quarterly reports that we're going to be presenting to council.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Norton?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Swift?
Yes.
Councilmember Workman?
Yes.
Councilmember Blanchett?
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
10.1, adopt resolution establishing the 2023-24 Recreation Department fee schedule. What's council's pleasure?
So moved.
Motion by Councilwoman O'Neill, supported by
Support.
Councilwoman Blanchett. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Swift?
Yes.
Councilmember Workman?
Yes.
Councilmember Blanchett?
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
Councilmember Norton?
Yes.
10.2, adopt resolution of intent to undertake special assessment and to authorize and direct the city manager to prepare cost estimates for the police special assessment for the Riverview Police Department. And I don't normally do this, but I'm going to read the background on that so everybody will know what we're looking to do. According to the deficit elimination plan that was filed by the city on February 7th, 2023, and approved by the State of Michigan Department of Treasury on February 23rd, 2023, revenue transfers from the RLP to the city's general fund will be reduced and eventually eliminated in accordance with the approved deficit elimination plan. This results in the need for additional revenues to be brought into the general fund. The city's public safety department represents 52.9% of the 31.8 cents of every tax dollar the city collects in property taxes. Under the Police and Fire Protection Act 33 of 1951, the city, as a qualified city, is permitted to raise revenue for police protection through the creation of special assessment district that is applicable citywide. Pursuant to the city's charter and ordinances, council must set forth its intent to undertake special assessment and authorize and direct the city manager to prepare those cost estimates for the police special assessment for the Riverview Police Department. What's council's pleasure?
Your Honor.
Councilman Workman.
Wasn't this called a public safety, not a police?
Your Honor, City Council, City Corporate Council, do you want to answer that, or you want me to answer that? It goes right to the Pub Act itself.
It does, and it is it's similar to, it's identical to the process we used with the fire millage. So that's the statute we are utilizing for this process, and you're challenging the title of this special assessment?
Yes, I thought we discussed it was a public safety, not just a police.
I believe that it was, our discussion was, we've already done the fire side, so I thought that we were focused on the police side this time. It could be wrong, though. I mean,
Well, I
either
could
way.
be too. I'm just,
Well, for this purposes, which is early in the process, as you recall, we have a calendar requiring several meetings. I think that we can proceed by calling it a public safety, so perhaps the motion could be modified to include public safety while we sort out specifically which direction has been given to us in the past, if that makes sense to you.
does to me, yeah. Your Honor, one other thing?
So, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say we can amend the motion to include Riverview Police Department / Public Safety, and that covers them both, and then we have to be more definitive later.
Yes,
Correct.
exactly.
Okay. Go ahead, Councilman Workman.
A little clarification on this. We knew when we didn't get the landfill expansion, we were going to get into a situation. And we could go up and down and make all kinds of excuses and all that other stuff and point this out and point that out. But the truth, the real truth of the fact is that we can start adjusting now. And I believe we can adjust a lot easier and make adjustments through the city if we get this and we work on the police and the fire, instead of kicking the can down the road and the landfill closing and we're going for 11 mills. My view is I don't want to go for 10, 11 mills because the landfill closed. And I think we need to be preemptive and make our adjustments now. Now, we've been accused of the past of kicking the can down the road, so I just felt it was important to bring that out, that this is my view, and Facebook can beat me up.
Your Honor.
Go ahead.
The deficit elimination plan, as you read, has the transfers from the landfill to the general fund expiring. It doesn't have 7 years of its existence in those transfers coming from the landfill to the general fund.
So this is the process that, so for me to better understand it, is this is the beginning of weaning ourselves from the landfill.
Correct, Your Honor. The landfill also has its financial responsibilities to fund itself, i.e. escrow accounts and post-retirement accounts. So it can't do both.
But we're also making other changes obviously with the gas plant coming online. All this stuff will be included in lessening the impact of the closure of the landfill.
Correct, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Councilman Workman?
However, we don't know exactly. We know the minimum we'll get from the gas plant. We don't know if we'll get more or not. That's why I said it's the beginning of a plan. And that's why I say up to 4 mil, and that was what I was saying in the study session. Up to 4 mil, because we know we're getting money from the gas plant. We just don't know how much. So.
That's good.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilwoman O'Neill.
and when will the landfill stop contributing to the general fund?
Go ahead, you probably answer that better.
I believe it's in year 3. So we'll have one more, this current 23-24, and a very small contribution in 24-25.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Norton.
I have a couple questions. We talked about it last week. As far as going for the expansion, that was from 2017 to 2022. Jeff, I know you've had a busy week. Do we have a rough idea what we spent for that expansion?
Your Honor, to Councilman Norton, I do not know, but, there was money spent in 17 for that expansion. Then there was a whole campaign put together for the 2022. Yeah, that was the meeting in 2022. As you know, I don't have a lot of resources right now, but
I understand that.
We will dig that out. You've asked for that, so we will dig that out.
Right. And then, Mr. Mayor, my other question is, we know that we need this because of the debt elimination plan. What I want to make sure that we communicate to the residents, those that we work for, is the debt elimination plan, that wasn't our choice, that was the state, correct? They were withholding funds?
That's correct.
And how long were they holding those funds for?
Jeff?
Your Honor, to Councilman Norton, I'm not exactly sure of the time, but I know it was over 12 months of state share revenue that they were holding a percentage of until that we had a state-approved plan, which we received in February of 2020.
Do you know what that amount was?
I don't know. I know it, if I'm not mistaken, it was 10% of the state sharing revenue.
All right.
And Mr. Mayor, through your chair too, City Manager Dobek, that wasn't on your watch. You walked into that. That's something that you had to pick up along with several other things.
Your Honor, I wasn't completely aware of that, and we're cleaning up now, yes.
Right. And correct me if I'm wrong, from last week's study session, there were times before you were the city manager that there was the revenue from the landfill that was transferred to the general fund along with some money from the escrow account. Did I interpret that correctly last week?
So there was transfers made from the landfill to the general fund, but the escrow amounts were transferred to the escrow account to pay for escrow expenses.
Okay.
So that was
new equipment, things like that.
Yeah, well, more of the projects, any of the expenses that will fall under the environmental escrow.
Okay.
Like, well, I'll give you an example, like the GCCS, drilling the new wells to produce the gas, those kind of expenses, which are normally capital in nature.
Okay. All right.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's, well, just the thing that I'm going to say is I'm going to vote yes for this, for the residents to decide, because at the end of the day, when you call 911, you want to make sure fire and police are there. I've talked to a lot of my colleagues throughout the week and the weekend, and I'm just concerned with, 1.74 trash, the 3% property. If this doesn't go through, do we as a team have a plan B or a plan C?
Jeff, my guess is I'm sure we have a contingency plan. We're putting one together because it would hurt if it didn't pass, but we have to be prepared for it not to, if that's the case.
Can we as a team know, coming up, leading up to this, what plan B is?
Your Honor, we're going to have to have a couple contingency plans, and I can't tell you today what they look like. I've got some ideas, but it would be really premature to kind of explain it tonight. And I'm hopeful. I think this is the first step in righting the ship, and I think we got to learn to live without that landfill. And as Council has said tonight, to stop kicking the can down the road and let the landfill use its resources to fund accounts that it should, and let the city live without the landfill and get itself ready.
Right.
Well,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Councilman
The one
Norton.
thing that I just wanted to add, with Mr. Dobek as our city manager, we've learned a lot as a team, and we're fortunate enough to have a colleague that was a city manager, and those water rates were really educational to me, that, when Councilman Workman was a city manager, they were implemented as they increased, but there was a decade or so that didn't happen.
Yeah, there was.
That just adds to it.
There was a decade or so where, in order to ease the burden on the residents with the tax bill, the city absorbed a portion of that cost for the tax. So
Now,
yes.
we got to pay the piper.
Yep. Anybody else?
Your Honor, I was just going to bring up the water bills as well. I've had questions about due to the water transfer funds to the general fund and back, and everything is back in the accounts that it's supposed to be in. Everything is being balanced. We do not owe the residents any money because of those transfers. We've been eating those costs for years and years.
Yes.
And there is no refunds, correct? Okay, just wanted to double check. And the second thing is, we did receive Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, different options. If this passes, if this doesn't pass, we have those charts, and they're kind of...
Yeah, the former city manager several times gave us lists of actions that we can take. I think 2019 and one, and 2020. So council has those, and they're just options of things to do to offset the 10 mills of the replacement landfill. I mean, that's what it comes down to. This is what Riverview looks like without a landfill, so we're trying to get there as painless as possible for everybody.
Your Honor, and I also believe that Council Member Ganaga was referring to a 5-year plan that I compiled, and that was reviewed by Plant Moran, and we had a study session, or, I'm sorry, we had some meetings with Plant Moran individually to go over those. So I felt it was very important for the city to actually get a true snapshot of what our next 5 years look like. So that was done, and I think that's what you're referring to, and I appreciate that you bring that up, that this is no big surprise that we went through this right after the debt plan. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Norton.
I'll motion that if we change it to public safety.
Riverview Police Department / public safety, or just public safety? Well, we're going to go with Riverview Police Department / public safety, Randy? Okay. Motion by Councilman Norton, supported by?
Support.
Councilman Workman. Almost afraid to ask. Any further discussion? Motion, please, or roll call, please.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Swift?
Yes.
Councilmember Workman?
Yes.
Councilmember Blanchett?
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
Councilmember Norton?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
11-1, award bid and authorize execution of the agreement for the 2023 street sectioning program with Savon Cement, Inc. in the amount of $546,000 plus 10% contingency in the amount of $54,600 for a total of $600,600. What's council's pleasure?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Ganaga, supported by Councilman Workman. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mayor Swift?
Yes.
Councilmember Workman?
Yes.
Councilmember Blanchett?
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
Councilmember Norton?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
11-2, approve the distribution of the land use master plan according to the Michigan Planning and Enabling Act, Public Act 33 of 2008. What's council's pleasure?
So moved.
Motion by Councilwoman O'Neill, supported by?
Support.
Councilman Norton. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Workman?
Yes.
Councilmember Blanchett?
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
Councilmember Norton?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Swift?
Yes. We have no ordinances. Under other business, Randy, I believe you have a motion for us?
I do, Your Honor. As a result of last week's performance evaluation of the city manager, I would recommend, based on that discussion, the council approve a motion to approve the 1% discretionary compensation to the city manager, in addition to the 2% contractual raise, all of which would be effective July 1st, 2023.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Workman, supported by Councilwoman Blanchett. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Blanchett?
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
Councilmember Norton?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Swift?
Yes.
Councilmember Workman?
Yes.
There were several questions asked during the guest and visitor comment. Councilman Norton, you want to go first?
Sure, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'd like to start on a positive. I was received a phone call from Mrs. Zellner, Mary Zellner, about the Vreeland property.
Mary Zellner gave you a call?
Yes, she called me.
All right.
And this being the 100-year anniversary, her family has done a lot of work on getting that property organized. I actually went over there today and took a picture. It's 1800s. Is there any way that we can make a motion from a city level to recognize that property as a historic site? Maybe through your chair to Mr. Pentiak?
Your Honor?
Go ahead.
My understanding is that a internal task force had been formed to evaluate this. I don't know what the outcome of that was.
Yeah, we've already been working with Mrs. Zellner on this, and we've polled most of the committee members and Mrs. Zellner herself and Jerry Perry, kind of the head of the committee, and Todd, that is the plan to, at a future council meeting, to designate that as the oldest house in Riverview, and then along with that would go some plaque to be presented at the, I don't normally do this, Mary, but would that be presented during the 100-year celebration, or would that take place ahead of time?
My thought was, or what the committee was talking about, it would be presented during the celebration on the 20th.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to make sure that was the way it is, so thank you.
So that's where we're headed with this, correct?
It is.
All right, perfect. So that's taken care of. To go back and answer some of the questions that we were asked, I'll start with Mr. Prey's question about the cannabis companies and taking donations. I haven't taken any donations from anyone, period. I don't take $1 from anyone, especially cannabis companies. I'll let everybody else that's running for election. Unfortunately, Mr. Tromley's already left, and the gentleman that I talked to in Colonial Village was working for a cannabis company with Mr. Tromley's address on it, so I don't know about that. I have Mr. Toll asked a question about the contracts, and Mr. Mayor, through your chair to Mr. Dobek, what we were paying for the 457K, the government portion of that, we're not paying any more than for the pension now, correct?
Mayor, to Councilman Norton, the retirement plan for the police that were put into place is exactly the same as it was. The only difference is after, should the stock market in the fund fall beneath 20%, fall on their costs over 20%, then they kick in the first 5%, then the city would kick in the next 5%.
Correct.
Based on the years of service and the actuary information, it's almost impossible for that to happen, so.
Okay, thank you for that. And then that was the contracts accepting donations, I answered that. I would like to thank you, Mr. Dobek, for getting ready to start those quarterly financial reports. I did some research. The state law was implemented in 1987. Mr. Tromley said he's been on the council since 1985, so I don't think those quarterly reports were ever given to council. So that's all I have.
Councilman O'Neill.
Councilman Norton answered my first question, because I remember when we were voting, it was considered a wash for the city because that was asked as for financial. Thank you for reminding me. No, I have not taken any donations from any cannabis companies or anyone else for that matter. And then I believe one other question Mr. Toll asked was, why don't other communities have dispensaries? I guess he should contact other communities. I don't have the answer to that.
Okay. And I'll just, I'll answer Mr. Upton's and Mr. Prey's comments about the flyers. I'm not going to comment on the flyer themselves, but I will make this statement that, and pretty sure it's true for the entire council, council had nothing to do with publishing those flyers, putting information on there, with the distribution, creation, financing. I know I didn't. I don't think any council member had anything to do, and I understand your frustration. And like I said, I'll reserve comment for later on both of them. But we had nothing to do with any of the flyers, so make that clear. And a comment about changing the character of the community. And really what it is we're a 3 square mile small bedroom community. It's a quiet place. And it's almost like, what do you want to be known as? And I remember early on in my mayorship that we were just criticized for having way too many Coney Islands. It's just like, what do you want to be known as, the Coney Island capital of the world? We have 3. So is that what you want? So it all comes down to, what do you want to be known as? And I'm not going to argue the number of dispensaries. They're going to be what they're going to be. Nobody believes it's unlimited. That's a fact. I'm not going to argue the exact numbers, but we could end up with twice as many dispensaries as we have Coney Islands. So that's just kind of the fact there. So it's just, what do you want it to be? And I did have conversations with some people that did visit other dispensaries, and I visited myself, to be honest with you. It was a first-class operation. So my concern isn't with the dispensaries themselves. The people go there. I don't have an issue with that at all. My issue obviously comes down to, I prefer the vote of the people. But those dispensaries that these people visited, they're high-volume businesses. You're talking, could be 800,000 people a day. So they're high volume. So with that comes traffic and whatever other issues you have. So that's kind of what I'm referring to when I'm talking about the character of the community. It's not a derogatory thing. It's just it's a change that you saw. A big chunk of our population was here tonight. So and our senior citizens they're pretty vocal, and I respect them for that. So that's kind of what I was referring to. Anybody else? Any other follow-ups? Councilwoman Ganaga.
I just wanted to mention, a lot of people are commenting on the wording of the proposal for the marijuana ordinance, and unfortunately, it has to be worded in the positive, if that makes sense. So a voting yes will go towards whatever that person who wrote it wanted. So that clears that up. So a yes vote will equal them shutting down a year after their permits were given. A no vote means you want them to stay. So,
yeah, and I
simple
think we
terms,
should.
that's as easy as I can make it.
Yeah.
Just for everyone to know. So we have no control over that wording. That is out of our hands. And the city is not paying for any of the flyers for or against. So those are private PACs, companies, things like that. The city is not paying for those. So wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Yep.
And that's, just one more quick thing, is I think, Jeff, as part of the space that we have in the register, we need just a factual type of dissertation of what a vote means. And like I said, don't put in there, obviously, if it's from the city, there's no bias, it's just factual on if this is what you want to happen, this is it. And even put the wording of the ballot proposal in that part. So obviously we want the people to make the right choice, either for or against. Councilman Norton.
I'm just being a team player here for you. Go ahead and answer the yes or no about taking money from cannabis.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not taking money from cannabis. That, to me, that's pretty obvious. And for anybody else, obviously, I'm going to be running a little higher profile campaign. And those lists of donors will be published. I think it's the second, third week in July when you have to file the paperwork. So all that's public knowledge. No, I don't think any of us are hiding anything. So I'm not taking money from cannabis, that's for sure.
Would Mr. Mayor, I didn't hear what you said about a higher profile what?
Campaign.
Okay. All right.
Your Honor.
Anybody else?
Your Honor.
Councilman Robbins.
In the past, it didn't quite apply to me, but I'll just say it too, so we don't have to go over this again. No, cannabis companies doesn't give me any money for campaigns or anything, any such thing. Another thing I wanted to just touch on really quickly, I found some interesting information out. We're getting ready to celebrate our 100 years. I'm super excited about it. No? It's on. Yeah, it's on.
You can't hear you.
Can you guys not hear me?
Talk a little closer.
All right. I apologize. 100 years coming up. Very excited about this. Our community, this is a big time for us. Thanks to the help of our wonderful city clerk, she filled me in on a question that we asked a while back about the last time that and I only bring this up because, people like to throw out beatings and everybody has their turn, unfortunately. But in our almost 100 years of being a city, We've never actually had an ordinance go to the vote of the people. It's always been done from up here. So that's just a little food for thought. You know, this wasn't unprecedented that we bulldoze anything. We had a vote like we do on every other ordinance to my knowledge that's ever come across these desks. 1933, for example, I believe it was 1933, Prohibition was overturned in the state of Michigan. You could now buy alcohol. With the information that I received, that would mean that nobody, the public didn't vote to open bars or liquor stores or anything like that. It probably, and I don't know this, but I'm assuming it went before your council in 1933. Just some interesting little tidbits I've picked up over the last couple weeks. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Summerfest went off without a hitch. We had a great time, and y'all be blessed.
That is very interesting on the vote, but Michigan voters did vote on it a few years ago on to if cities should be allowed to, so it did go to a vote of the voters for the state, but what the state left it up to each city to individually do it. So it's not unprecedented that people voted on the dispensaries, but it's my opinion, it's a very high profile topic that, and just by the discussion we've had on social media, it's just tearing the community apart. I'm sure Councilman Norton, you had a lot of discussion at your booth as we did.
I talked about cannabis more than I wanted to.
Yes, yeah, and I was asked how many, there's probably for and against. The question was the dispensaries themselves and how that works, and then Councilwoman Ganaga already brought this up, the wording of the vote for the, that's going to be on the ballot. It's totally confusing, and I think everybody knows that, so we need to do our best to make sure people know if you support it, this is how you vote, if you're against it, that's how you vote. So that's what we're going to try to make clear in a very unbiased way.
Mr. Mayor, can I piggyback off of that?
Sure you can.
I actually had a dream Friday night. Yes means no, no means yes. And just so everybody in the audience is aware, when we had that cannabis committee, one of the things we looked at was in 2018, when it was on the ballot for Michigan residents, it passed in Riverview by 625 votes. So, and when local officials get elected, we usually have low turnouts, like 12 to 1,300.
Yep.
So that number is rather large.
I know you don't like me bringing this up, but also in 1968, the landfill was overwhelmingly approved by the residents. I realize it was before you were born, but the same thing.
You're speaking factual information, correct?
That's right.
I'm all for factual data.
Yeah. I didn't realize I'm old enough to be your grandpa. Okay, anybody else? All right. With that, we'll recess, look for a motion to recess into closed session to discuss pending litigation. It's council's pleasure. Recess means we're coming back, by the way.
So moved.
Motion by Councilwoman O'Neill, supported by Councilman Robbins. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
Councilmember Norton?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Swift?
Yes.
Councilmember Workman?
Yes.
Councilmember Blanchett?
Yes.
Let the record show we recessed at 8:33. Reconvened at 9:03 PM on the 23rd. Will the clerk please take roll?
Councilmember Norton?
Here.
Councilmember O'Neill? Councilmember Robbins?
Here.
Mayor Swift?
Here.
Councilmember Workman?
Here.
Councilmember Blanchett? Here. Councilmember Ganaga?
Here.
City Attorney Randy Pentiak.
Your Honor, may I recommend a motion to concur with the recommendation and advice given by legal counsel in the closed session this evening and to proceed as recommended?
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Councilwoman Ganaga, supported by Councilman Workman. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Swift?
Yes.
Councilmember Workman?
Yes.
Councilmember Blanchett?
You don't want
You don't have to.
No. No? Councilmember Norton?
Yes.
Did you call me?
What about me?
Yeah.
Did I go in the wrong? Yeah, I started with
You don't
Neil
count.
Robbins.
I want to vote on it.
No, she doesn't count.
Voted.
You forgot,
If I said yes. Just read back what you got.
I had started with when we came back with Councilmember Norton, when I took roll call.
Right.
Then we just made a motion and with Dean, and then I went to Councilmember O'Neill, Robbins, Mayor Swift.
Okay.
Workman, Blanchett, Ganaga. I'm sorry. Blanchett said no. Ganaga, I'm sorry, I did skip you, Rita.
All right.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I have to go back this again because I had my speaker off. So we have a vote of yes for Councilmember Norton, Councilmember O'Neill, Councilmember Robbins, Mayor Swift, Councilmember Workman, Councilmember Blanchett said no, and Councilmember Ganaga said yes.
Great, motion passes. With that, I will look for a motion to adjourn from Councilwoman Blanchett.
So moved, Your Honor.
Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Councilwoman O'Neill. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Robbins,
Yes.
Mayor Swift.
Yes.
Councilmember Workman.
Yes.
Councilmember Blanchett.
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga.
Yes.
Councilmember Norton.
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Let the record show we adjourned at 9:06.